Hello everyone, I'm Denise Love, and today I felt like cutting up some art. So we're going to do some intuitive painting, and then we're going to cut it up into some yummy little masterpieces. I know you're going to have super fun, so pull out some paints and join me in my painting. So let's get started. I'm in the mood to cut stuff up today, so what I have done is I thought we could do some intuitive painting and then cut it up into some masterpieces. And I have taped down a piece of sample paper. I got a sampler pack from Jackson's Fine Art, and I thought, you know what, I need to start playing with these different kinds of papers and seeing, do I really love any of them, and I could get some sheets of it. And what I'm playing on today is the Jackson's TR 140 pound 300 GSM, and it's a watercolor paper. It feels like a cold press. It's got texture on it. And it feels like it's cotton, so I'm assuming it's cotton, but I'd have to look up that exact paper to see what the makeup is. And I think I'm going to like the texture, and it does have like a spot or two that has like a little flaw on it where I've pulled these out and used them as backgrounds and put them back away, but it doesn't even matter on an intuitive painting like this because we're going to cover the whole thing and then cut some up. And I was kind of playing a little bit with color palettes, thinking, what do I want to play with today? Do I want to play with watercolor? Do I want to play with acrylic inks? Do I want to step outside my comfort zone? And I thought, I'm not a purple girl. My mother was all about purple, and I never was a purple girl. And I thought today, let's play in purple. Purple! Because I'm filming this on Mother's Day, and we'll do this as a little tribute to my mother who passed away several years ago. And now we'll know that we're painting with Mom today. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is play in some acrylic inks, because on this I was kind of putting some water on the paper, dripping some ink, coming back with some pastels, the oil pastels, which I am just all of a sudden obsessed with, so you may see these for a few videos until I hop on to the next obsession. And I'm gonna put water on here and drip ink on here, and we are just going to paint this piece of paper until it's full and we feel like, okay, let's see what we got and what we can cut up. So let's just get to painting. And I'm gonna have to spread stuff on here and drip ink and just play for a while. I may do some stencil work. I may get out some acrylic paints to stencil on top of. You know, there's nothing holding us back today. Now, the thing I like doing, why I like working on especially cotton papers, besides the fact that they're, look how pretty that is! Ha! Good choice. The thing I like about working on cotton paper is the water stays on the surface a little bit longer, like you have more time to do stuff. Look at that ink run. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, if you don't make noises and be goofy when you're making art, are you really making fun art? Are you really having fun at your art table? Oh my gosh. Okay, so before I get too far, I kind of want to, oh my gosh, you don't know how many times I have dumped ink over on like big important something. I'm so clumsy. I get excited and then I get a little bit clumsy and fumble stuff. So that first color was antelope brown, and this color is sepia. And I like the difference in the two, because you can see the sepia is a different shade and it's a little bit darker, and it really gives me like a bit of contrast in there. And because I was thinking purple, I pulled out Amsterdam Ultramarine Violet. And you know, in the end, if we don't love it, that's what this play and experimenting is all about. Figuring these types of things out. Do you love this color? Would you want to use this on a collection, on something that's really important? Or is it like a color that you're like, oh my gosh, throw that one away and never pull it back out again? Look how pretty it is though. And I got some white here. Let's just shake this up a bit. Shake your inks before you open them. Squeeze the stuff out in case you have any ink stuck up in the little stopper there, because sometimes that ink gets in that little dauber and kind of solidifies a little bit. And then when you have like a big glob land on your piece, that's a little bit upsetting. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, speed this up as I just do some fun ink and mark making here. And my goal here is not to worry about composition. I'm not worried about where exactly I'm putting stuff. Only thing I'm worried about is, ooh, let's put this here and let's put this there. And what feels good? I'm gonna put some Matt Graphite pencil 14B and just do some mark making with pencil for a moment, and then we'll see what else this needs. Okay, this is looking very exciting, and I think at this point I want to let this dry so I can then think about what else I might want to add to it. And I was just using on this whole thing my Princeton Neptune number 4 quill brush. I like these quill brushes. They're nice little big mop brushes. And then it was fun to kind of put some more ink on and just smear it a little bit with water and just watch it do its thing and do marks with pencils. But at this point I think I'm going to let this dry, and then we will see what other mark making that we can do on top of this. Alright, I've let this dry. I had to walk away from it so I wasn't tempted to try to get in here and mess anything up. Definitely when you're doing big pieces like this and you're impatient, say, to move to the next step and you're like, oh, I can't wait for it to dry, I would recommend you get some of these hardboard art panels that you can get at the art store. You can get these at the hardware store. Just some hardboard panels that are a little bigger than the piece of art you're going to be working on, or the bigger than the piece of paper you're going to be working on. And tape down several pieces of paper and do several of these. And then by the time you're done with, say, the third one, you know, now you've got 2 or 3 surfaces to work on, and your first one may be dry by that time, and you weren't sitting here twiddling your thumbs, you know, waiting on it to dry. So if you're impatient and you don't want to walk away and you want to keep playing, do like 3 of these at a time. Work on one, set it to the side, work on the next, set it to the side, work on the third, and then by then maybe the first one's ready, or maybe you're tired and you might come back the next day, and then the next day you've got 3 pieces that you can play on and cut up. So at this point, we could continue mark making, or, because this is looking pretty darn cool, I love this whole area right here. I love this little splat of purple right in here. Oh, I'm loving, I really love that. Let's get past that. And I'm kind of thinking, I've got a little set of mats that came from the framing from the art store, wherever. These are pre-cut mats. And I'm kind of thinking, what do you think, like right there? Because now I'm thinking of color, I'm thinking of contrast, I'm thinking of composition. So in the piece, I'm kind of wanting some light to dark. I'm also not wanting to put like my feature right in the center. The center is the most uninteresting composition usually. So I kind of want to have, you know, that part that's going to draw the eye, maybe sitting off to the side or the other side or further down or further up, kind of in the rule of thirds, like a third of the way over or a third of the way over or a third of the way up or a third of the way up. And even more interesting is if on those imaginary cross lines you put the feature item. So I don't worry so much about the feature item as I do getting that on, say, a third line and then saying, okay, I'm loving that right there. And I feel like if I come down too far, I've kind of ruined it. If I go up too far, I've kind of lost that piece in there that I thought was super cool. So I'm feeling like perhaps this is my composition, and at this point I could go ahead and mark it off and then do some mark making on it before I get the paper out and cut it up. That's one option. And I like having a double mat because the lower mat would be, you know, how it would be framed. The upper mat comes out a little bit further, so if I cut this out that little bit larger size, I have a little bit of play that on that piece. Look how pretty that is. Ah! Okay, I love it. And then I can draw a nice dark line on this and not worry about it because I know that when it gets framed, that will be covered up. And so I want that line dark enough that I can see it, because before I start doing some other stuff on it and then playing, maybe I want to cut out the next piece, or maybe I just want to cut them all out and then play on top of that. Let's do that. Alright, so I'm going to peel the tape. This is just painter's tape. I did it on the very, very edge just because I wanted that piece of paper to be stuck down and not moving around. But it wasn't really to make a frame. And what if you do this whole thing and you just love it? You know what? If you love it, keep it. Don't cut it up. But I start these pieces knowing that I want to cut them up, so it does not bother me one bit. Alright, let's just cut this up and then I know what I got left. Alright. And I'm not worried about being perfect on that line, because remember, that's up under the mat, so it's not actually going to show. But this will definitely, like, I just spotted this, you know, I just spotted it. This will definitely show me what I've got left over. And if you're playing in a color palette that you don't normally play in, these little leftover strips are perfect for making a color palette reference. Let me show you my color palette book. Okay, so I have just an old book that I thought was fun. It's an old hymn book. And what I do is I coat a page of paper with some clear gesso, and then I will take a piece of whatever I've cut up, a strip of it, and make a color palette reference guide for myself. And then you can write what each of these colors are and what they were underneath it, and just make yourself a guide so that anytime you're struggling or you're wondering like, ooh, what color palette could I use today? Now you have a guide of all the art and stuff that you've done previous to this piece, and you're like, ooh, I should go back to this color palette or something like that. So I really, really love having a fun little color palette book like this, and you can see such fun stuff. Like, look at that one, super fun. And then sometimes, you know, colors combine in ways that you weren't expecting, and you might think, oh, I loved it or I hated it, and you could make notes about what you liked or didn't like. So these are super fun to kind of keep a reference of color palettes that you like. So try to save a piece that's got all the colors in it, and then you can do something like that. Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful this is. Oh, that is just so pretty. These could be bookmarks. These could be micro pieces of art. Like this over here is so pretty. Okay, so this is what we got left. My goal is to kind of get 2 pieces out of here in my mind, or we could just use the rest for collage paper. Let's just see. Now I can turn it and look at it in other directions and see, is there another piece in here that's kind of speaking to me that kind of would be a really nice companion to this? And I don't know, I'm kind of thinking maybe that. What do you think? Oh, let's just move it around. Ooh, 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 ooh. What about right there? Ooh, what about right there? Kind of feeling right there. Ha ha ha! Thinking that's it. You might not have agreed. You might have been like, no! So when you do yours, just know you got choices, and there won't be people judging you like you're judging me. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right, we're committing. We're doing that one. I want you to be less serious about your art, less precious about pieces. And when you do big stuff like this, and you're like, I'm gonna cut this up, and you're painting it with the intention of cutting up, because you don't know how many people say, I don't know if I can cut my art up. If you cut it up, if you start with that intention of I'm cutting this up, makes it easier. And if you're just kind of having fun and you're serendipitously looking for fun stuff, that makes it easier. I hope these are the same size. Yes. Sometimes I cut the wrong mat. But look how pretty that is. That right there. Oh, I love that. So don't throw away any of these pieces. Look how pretty this one is. Oh, I love that. Don't throw these pieces away. These are fantastic collage pieces. This right here could be the element on a collage that's like the power piece, the piece that's like, here's what this piece is about. And then look at this, these paper, or we could cut little hearts out of these. You know how I like cutting hearts for my heart art jar, which you may or may not see that video yet. But these are perfect for cutting hearts out of, and then you could put art prompts on the back. So I love that. And so these are future cut up pieces for something. Ha ha ha. Okay, let's go back to these two. So now that we've got these two and we're ready to be like, okay, what else does it need? Maybe it doesn't need anything at all. Like if you look at that and think, best thing I've ever created, then stop right there. If you look at it and think, ooh, I want some more of this lavender, then pull some other colors and start thinking, okay, what could I do here to make this? Oh my gosh, now is the moment that you're like, am I going to ruin this? I don't want to put a mark on it. If you get to this point, look at these. Ooh, whoa, so pretty. Oh my gosh, now I have to use them because, man, they're pretty. Oh, what about this? Woo, pretty. If you get to this point and you're like, I'm too scared, stop. You know what? Don't do it if you're just too scared. If you're looking at this with a sense of adventure like I am, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Pick the one that's your least favorite and do it to that one first. And then whatever your favorite is, you can go, okay, let's do it over here if I loved it. So for like this, I could just commit, just do it. Oh, look how this stuff is so creamy. And if you're going to use oil pastels on something, then definitely get some of the Sennelier Oil Pastel Fixative, because I used to be scared of these because they don't ever really dry. But after you put this fixative, a couple really thin layers, spray it, let it dry, spray it, let it dry, take it outside while you're doing this, it's going to stink. And then this kind of lets that oil pastel sets up to where it hardens. Whereas if you just kind of leave it out there, it never really hardens. So you definitely need the fixative. And what I love about it is the texture and the dimension and how yummy and creamy that was. So I liked that. So let's just do that over here. Where do I want to do that? Brr! Let's do it up here. Just commit. Just put the thing down and say, doing it. Because in the end, this was just a big piece we cut up. We could always do another one. We could do more in this series. Look how pretty that is. It's just a tiny bit. It's not something to overwhelm. It's not going to be like sock them in your face, but it is an extra texture and interest as we get closer, which is exactly what I want. I like that. And we've got this little bit. That was pretty. What colors are these? Whatever it is, it's number 209. And this is number 216, and it's a little bit darker. So I'm kind of thinking, what do you think? Let's do some marks or dots or something. Or go with me here. Let's just do, look at that, it's so dark. Oh, let's do some kind of, just like a little scribble line through it. Ugh. Okay. And see, now you're seeing me do this and you're thinking, I didn't like that. Now you know not to do it. Or you're thinking, oh, I love that. So now you know something you can do. Okay, so do it on the least favorite first and then do it on the favorite. I don't know that I loved it, so we'll save it. This is number 230. Ooh, that's pretty. Look at that. It's really light. Just kind of a suggestion. I am liking this little bit of a suggestion. Ooh, see, that's fun, kind of coming in from the side. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. Just a tiny bit of something in here. Maybe I'll do... Ooh, that's fun. Ooh, I like that. Alright, just a tiny bit. Okay. Whoa, I love the oil pastels. It's my goal to use them in everything now. And, you know, we love polka dots. We love gold. Definitely thinking some gold could come in here. This is my brass kakamori nib. And I just like to play and add some lines, maybe some dots. Do it on the piece you don't love first. I did love this one though, but I love this one more. Oh, that's fun. But treat one as like your experimental piece and one is the piece that you're like, I love this so much I'd frame it. Ooh, I like the gold on the super dark. Okay, so I think now that I did that, that has solidified in my mind that I want halftone circles or punchinella instead of the ink. So, or, ooh, what about these corrugated lines? Let's do corrugated lines over here. We could do that in gold or a color. I'm feeling like gold. And I got the halftone circles by Tim Holtz. This corrugated line one is by Stencil Girl, S227. I do love this one. Kind of thinking maybe corrugated lines, or we could do halftone circles. I am kind of feeling the halftone circles. Now what I like about the halftone circles is they're different sized circles, whereas my favorite punchinella, they're all the same sized circles. Punchinella is all the same. This is the stuff they punch stencils out of. But you can get punchinella stencils too. Okay, so I'm feeling like this is a good choice. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm probably going to figure out a way to work some gold in. Alright, let's get the Kakamori gold paste. I'm feeling gold. I'm ready to commit to the gold. I got a dry sponge. These are the little artist sponges. I just cut them into, it's a circle that I just cut into fours. And what if we do this right over here? Yeah! Oh yeah! Look at that. Now check it out. Just a little bit of bling bling. Totally, that was it. That's what that needed. Oh my gosh. That's what that needed. That made me so excited. Now I'm kind of thinking, does it need a little bit over here to just tie it in? Oh! Yes it did. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah, okay, that one's gorgeous. All right, I'm kind of feeling like this could use some of these over here too. So let's just go ahead and add it in. And then I think these would be a really pretty matched pair. Let's see, did that do it? Yes, that did it. Okay, yes. Yes, look at that. Okay, loving that. That was a perfect addition. Now you just got to think anything else that you think that needs. Does it need any white Posca pen? Does it need any mark making? I'm kind of feeling like it looks pretty darn good just like it is. So I feel like this piece for me is done. I am going to take it outside, spray my piece with the fixative spray so that I set that pastel. But I think for today we have some yummy pieces. And that art paper that I was using, the Jackson's sampler pile, I was using this Jackson's TR 140 pound 300 GSM cold press paper, and this was from a comparison pack of 12 watercolor papers from Jackson's Art. And so I think I'm gonna start using these on some of these intuitive painting pieces so I can say, okay, I liked this paper or I didn't like this paper, and then I'll know. And then I love the leftover pieces for some collage stuff, so don't throw that out. All right, so I hope you enjoyed painting with me today. Hit that subscribe button on my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I can't wait to see you the next time we do some intuitive painting. So I'll see you next time.